Hi, Shannon here with the Shannon Jones Team at Keller Williams Realty. Today's question is, what's an appraisal gap clause and how does it work? Well, let's back up a minute. What's an appraisal? So an appraisal is the bank's assessment of what the value of a home is. So the bank or mortgage lender will actually hire an appraiser to go out and check what the value of the home is. In traditional contracts, there's three main contingencies, and one of them is an appraisal contingency. So when you make an offer, it is contingent upon the bank agreeing that the house is worth what you're paying. In today's hot market, sometimes buyers are just waiving that appraisal contingency. So they're saying, regardless of what the bank says it's worth, I'm moving forward. But other buyers are saying, I'm not comfortable completely removing that, but I'm okay paying maybe a little above what the bank says. And that is where the appraisal gap clause comes in. So with an appraisal gap clause, what the buyer's saying in their offer is, if there's a gap between our contract price and the appraisal value, I will make up to X amount up with bringing extra money in. So let's take an example. The buyer and seller agree on a price of $850,000. And there's an appraisal gap clause that says buyer agrees to pay up to $20,000 above the appraisal value if there is a gap between the appraisal value and the contract price. In that example, if the appraisal comes in at $850,000, $840,000, $830,000, the process still moves forward and the buyer's already agreed to make up that gap. But what happens if the appraisal comes in at $800,000? Now there's a $50,000 gap between the appraisal value and the contract price. So what happens in that scenario where there's a bigger gap? Well, either the buyer could proceed despite the fact that the gap is bigger than they'd agreed to, or the seller could agree to sell for less than the contract price. So in this case, they could actually come down to, let's say, $820,000, because remember, the buyer said they'd pay up to $20,000 above the appraised value. So the buyer's already agreed to at least $820,000 in that scenario. Or because you've still got a gap between that $820,000 and $850,000, the buyer and the seller could negotiate to a number somewhere in the middle. If you have any questions about how appraisals work, or appraisal contingency removals, appraisal gap clause, or the process in general, give us a call or DM us and let us know. We're happy to help. Thanks for watching.